man. Fellas, say come tomorrow morning, pump a gas, whatever the case may be. You jump in, you grab up your PowerBall numbers. Say if you won the PowerBall for 400 million, what would you do that first week?
So what I want to do is go down to Brazil, and I want to buy a big chunk of the Brazilian rainforest. As much as, I want to keep some of that money to the side, right? Because I'm going to need to maybe upgrade a few little things in my life. Let's keep some money on hand. But I'm 399 million is buying Brazilian rainforest. I'm going to buy as much of it as I can. I want as much acre. Yes. And then I'm going to start this charity where if you don't buy it back from me, $1 per square foot, I strip mine it and burn it the next year.
I'm not sure that's a charity.
You hold the world ransom for part of Brazil's rainforest. I can tell you right now, I don't give a fuck, and you would not be getting my dollar. I don't care. Burn it down.
I think there's enough people who love the rainforest and saw that movie Fern Gully, and that sort of crowd who would pay me to buy the rainforest back from me. It's sort of a James Bond villain type plan.
You think those people in their tie-dye shirts and their dreadlocks, in their pot-smoking drum circles, you think they're really going to pony up the dough, or are they just going to wear a shirt that says #SaveTheForest as they buy their $9 coffee?
I don't even get the rainforest thing. It seems like you tear down the trees and they grow it they put crops and shit, like they grow corn or bananas. I don't know what the fuck they grow. Does the Earth really give a fuck that you change from trees to banana trees or corn? It seems to me still roughly the same. It's plant shit.
Seems like if the Earth really cared, it would hold strike and be like, we are not growing bananas here.
Right.
Only trees.
They cut the trees down and then they make fields and then they put grazing animals on there, so it's doubly effective. Now they're farting and shitting and making methane. So now you took something that used to take carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen for the world, like the biggest oxygen producing little engine that the planet has, really, and you took some of that away and made a methane generation plant there instead.
I am of two minds on this.
Very very long internet videos of you in the ISIS garb with a bad camera pointed at you as you stand next to a tree and then saw it in half for 3 hours until it falls down.
On one hand, I absolutely don't give a fuck about your rainforest. As a matter of fact, send me some purple heart. It's my favorite endangered tree, and I like to make shop jigs out of it. Right? So that's one hand. On the other, I'm really upset that September was as hot as it was. So whatever methane production you're doing seems to have impacted my paramotoring and make me sweat. So stop it.
If I had 400 mil, first week, I'm not telling. I'm contacting the best attorneys I can possibly find, and I'm not telling anyone. I don't tell my parents, my brother, my girlfriend, or anyone else. Just keep it silent until I talk to some attorney, because if I talk to someone I know, they're going to be like, oh, I got this great attorney over here, and then that attorney's going to love that you got hooked up from this guy, so they're going to try and make sure that this guy who hooked him up with you gets paid, and then you're into a bunch of politics nonsense. I just want to find the absolute best attorney to handle it, and then once that's all squared away, money's in the account, everything's good, probably a few weeks later, then I can go to people and be like, hey, I've come into some money, and just have the conversation. But by that point, it's too late for everybody to be handing out their palms,
Maybe now, since you have all that money, you could put upon some sort of elaborate ruse to find out who your true friends and family members are, where you put yourself in the pauper position. You manufacture a bunch of bad things that happen to you suddenly, and then you go to these supposed friends and family members who love you so much, and you ask them for assistance. Hey, I really need you to co-sign with me here. I really need you to come over for every weekend this month and help me rebuild where there was a flood. Maybe you go to them like that. And then you reveal that you're really the prince and that you've come upon this money, and you stick it in the faces of those who won't help you.
Brilliant. I was going to say my second favorite idea was to buy the rainforest out from under you, but I like this one even better. Of just pretending like I have a horrible disease, or buying a bunch of very, very heavy furniture from multiple locations and asking people to move it into my place.
That would be a good one. Tell them all I need you all to be tested to see if your bone marrow will match mine. It's a very invasive, painful procedure, but without it, I will die by year's end. And see who's willing to take the blood test.
Everyone who's willing in that world gets $1 million.
Right?
As soon as they find out, it's like, hey, guess what? And I don't even give it an account. I have a big suitcase No, not a suitcase. Like, I buy them a car full of ones.
No, I've got it better. The doctor comes in to take the blood, but it's not a doctor. It's a big-tittied nurse with money strapped all over her body, and she strips naked, and the only thing that's covered is the parts that you don't really want to see, and they're covered with money.
Which parts of a big-tittied nurse don't I want to see?
Her
top
stomach
of her head.
I want the money around her stomach and maybe a money crown. I don't know how she's gonna
cover her
that.
face with the dumbass money.
If it's covered with money, I want her totally covered up, like a burqa style of just cash.
Oh,
yeah.
Do like an epic thing. Well, if you're into that, we'll get you whatever kind of money whore you want.
Money whore.
I like the idea of like testing them a little first to do like an undercover boss kind of scam to see if they really deserve to be part of the brave new world that I'm about to usher in for Team Kyle. You know what I mean?
Now that
because that guy out in Texas is worth like $250 million or whatever. He ushered in a new world for everyone in his circle because now there's no reason to go to Arby's ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I'm going to support you and pay your mortgage. It's just that, like, if you're hanging out with that guy, we won't be going to Arby's anymore. That's a guarantee. We're going to go somewhere nice.
My friends, we go to Waffle House a lot. Sorry.
I like Waffle House. What do you get? I get the All-Star Special.
Steak.
Well, wait, real quick. I want to know what, Dame, what are you doing with your 400 mil?
Wow, dude. The actual first week with the 400 mil, that definitely would be spent. I would have about 3 different lawyers. And that's just me going through consultation for like a full day of consultation. Like, it would be the first time ever that I would see a whole bunch of paperwork that I actually want to read through just so I can understand what's going to be going on with the rest of my life. Because I can guarantee that relatives I've never heard of are going to pop up. And I know in certain states, you don't even have to mention who you are once you win. Unfortunately, I'm not in that state. So everybody's going to know David Patterson just hit this Powerball.
Unless you change your what if you change your name very quickly before you accept the money, accept it as Bill Mayer, and then now that you're a 400 millionaire, be like, you know what, switch that back now. Could you do that?
Or accept it under the name of someone you really sincerely dislike.
Or even better.
And then they're like, yeah, I'll claim that. What if they then get title to your money somehow?
It's strange how these things would actually work out. And you would love to say that you would travel the world and you do everything that you normally don't get an opportunity to do. But when that's done, what are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, by the time you travel the world, that's not going to be the end of your life. You'll just be done.
Yeah, and you'll have to spend more money.
I think a whorehouse would be fun. I think it would be nice to like be an owner-operator of a whorehouse, maybe. Okay. I feel like you could pull off some sort of actual Hugh Hefner thing late into your 80s or 90s or something like that. And with the medical science that I'll have access to, we'll probably have some sort of a mechanical cock, in the next 10 or 15 years. Something frightening. Something truly frightening. I
disagree about the whorehouse. Whorehouses are like boats. Like, you want a friend who owns a whorehouse. You don't want to own it. You don't want to deal with that. Can you imagine HR in a whorehouse?
Awful. Yes.
Probably very difficult.
HR for a whore. That would be quite interesting.
Every day dealing with profanity complaints.
It would be the most off-the-wall thing. They came right in my eye. I told them that.
Grabbed my tits and I just hate it. Samantha, this is the 3rd time this week. You are literally a whore. I need you to do your job. The reports are coming in, and your numbers are lagging.